Welcome in again. We've made it through the off-season desert. Well, just a few more hours. But 49ers rookies officially report to Santa Clara and training camp tomorrow, Tuesday, July 16th. So I'm going to brief you on every single one of the rookies, drafted and undrafted, that's going to be headed through the gates at the facility tomorrow to get you ready. Congratulations. Another insufferable offseason is almost over. This is the Lombardi Lounge podcast again, in honor of the podcast, which is now available on Apple and Spotify. If you'd rather listen there, we'll go audio only today, at least not seeing my face today. You'll see my face again tomorrow. We're going to go back to a little bit of a video setup tomorrow. But just to bring awareness, to let everybody know, the 49ers podcast this year, or the YouTube channel this year, is available in podcast form as well. And Mike has it all set up on Apple and Spotify. So be sure to click on that. Go check it out. I know some of you like to drive while you consume this information. So go ahead and do that. Those of you watching on YouTube right now, we're going to start the rookie breakdown immediately, and we'll start it with video. Here's Malik Mustapha, ball of muscle, one of the 49ers draftees out of Wake Forest. When I say ball of muscle, those of you who are watching the video probably see exactly what I mean. It's built like a mini linebacker, mini version of Dre Greenlaw, but he is strong. He's yoked, and he's versatile because of that. I could see Malik Mustapha potentially being able to challenge for a closer to the line of scrimmage role right away. The thing about him, though, and you see in that clip, he wasn't a bad coverage corner at Wake Forest. Now, it takes a lot more to be a good coverage guy at the NFL level. But when you look at Malik, and I mean, these pictures right here do show you that mini linebacker's build. But when you look at him move, I think that the ability to cover, it's going to come down to film study. It's going to come down to preparedness, the ability to read cues at the actual NFL level. It's not going to come down to a lack of athleticism. There's a lot of that. He was a really good player at Wake Forest. He ran what they called in their Panther package. He ran a position where he was playing all over the field on third downs, which I'm sure the 49ers like a lot. I mean, they've run safety versatility for some time now. If you're the high safety, you've got to be able to play down low in the box. If you're the box safety or the strong safety in the past, you've got to be able to play up high in that safety position that's, you know, more of a center field type of role. So you've got to be able to do both. But with Brandon Staley coming aboard as the 49ers defensive coordinator, no, Nick Sorensen is the defensive coordinator, Brandon Staley coming along, helping the 49ers architect this defense. He's a former defensive coordinator, former head coach. I think that his fingerprints are going to be over this in the adaptability fashion. The 49ers want to evolve defensively, just like they wanted to evolve when they hired Steve Wilks as the defensive coordinator last year. That proved to be a little bit too ambitious because they weren't able to successfully keep their existing principles and have it meld well with the new stuff that Steve Wilks was bringing in. Brandon Staley comes in as an assistant head coach, and he's going to be able to help Nick Sorensen out, and somebody like Malik Mustapha, who I just showed you, should allow the 49ers to implement some of the versatility that they're going to like. You know, safety, when you look at this depth chart, is a rather precarious position because Talanoa Hufanga is still shaded in pink. That means that he's probably not going to be available for the start of training camp due to the recovery from the ACL tear. They haven't added at the position in terms of signing a veteran. Green on this depth chart is a rookie that the 49ers have added. And yes, Malik Mustapha is now aboard. Jalen Mahoney is another rookie that I'll talk about right now. I'm in Nashville as we speak. Mahoney went to college here. He went to Vanderbilt, and he's somebody who's going to have a chance to show that he belongs to stay in the building. Maybe like Taylor Hawkins, who saw his first career interception when the 49ers were playing the Rams last year in that Week 18 game. Hawkins, the San Diego State DB, who's been with the 49ers in the practice squad for a couple years. Mahoney's going to be competing with somebody like Taylor Hawkins for a 90-man roster spot in all likelihood. But Mustapha was a draft pick, and you just saw him. I think he's got the body type to be versatile, and the roster situation dictates that there may be a spot to contribute for him sooner rather than later. We're We're going to move on now. We're going to go through just move up through this. We're going to go up to the cornerback position and Renardo Green. We have some video of Renardo as well. This is some workout video of the Florida State defensive back working out this offseason. Renardo is interesting because he played outside at Florida State, but the 49ers believe that he's got the versatility to do both, to also contribute at slot cornerback for them. So over the course of this offseason, the second-round pick, Renardo Green, was working out for San Francisco, starting at that inside cornerback position. They ultimately then had him flexing over the course of the OTA program and then veteran minicamp, which means that he would line up at outside cornerback for San Francisco in some of the base situations. And then when they were running second team nickel stuff, then they could slide him inside. Second round pick is not nothing. They obviously saw a very talented player in Renardo Green. And when you watch the tape from Florida State last year, press man coverage, there might not have been a better cornerback in the entire country when it came to college football. He shut down Malik Neighbors, had a really good game against Brian Thomas Jr., also of LSU. They beat LSU twice at Florida State in successive years with Renardo there. And he faced Ricky Pearsall, who we'll talk about a little bit later, the 49ers rookie first-round receiver. And he also had a really nice game against Ricky. Now, it's not really a fair fight sometimes with Ricky Pearsall when you look at who he had throwing to him for Florida. Last year, they didn't have a very good cornerback situation. But the thing about Renardo Green is that he's going to compete against anybody. And, when I look at the 49ers DB room, I note that there is a little bit of thinness at that safety position, but I think that cornerback position is very, very stocked with talent. I'm highlighting it right here because not only have they added Renardo Green in the second round of the draft, and we're going to get our first look at him this week as he reports to the 49ers facility along with the rest of the rookies, but they also signed Isaac Yadam. They also signed Rock Yassin. Those are two cornerbacks who have accomplished some stuff in this. Who's done something at the NFL level, obviously. Not a whole lot, but he does have some big plays under his belt for the 49ers ever since he joined in 2021. They have Samuel Womack, who they think can turn the corner, and Darrell Luter Jr., who might be ready for a breakout this season. Haven't even gotten to Kamon Hall, who was in the building last year. So it's a really deep 49ers cornerback room, and that's going to make Renardo Green be pretty damn impressive to see some early playing time. You would hope that he does see early playing time as a second-round pick. And I just can tell you this for sure. If he does see that early playing time, it will be very, very well deserved for Renardo Green. All right, moving up. Where are we going here? We've gone through Mustapha. We go through Renardo Green. Now, Tatum Bethune. That is Renardo's college teammate from Florida State. Hard-hitting linebacker, good instinctive player. Linebacker is one of those positions that's going to be really crowded, but there is opportunity due to the injury. Dre Greenlaw's not going to be ready for the start of training camp. Devondre Campbell's getting older, didn't have a great year for Green Bay last season. So you see Tatum Bethune enter a potential battle. If he can pick things up quickly, he can throw himself into the ring there with somebody like D. Winters, with somebody like Jalen Graham. Those are just second-year guys. So opportunity might be there at the linebacker position, but Bethune is a hard hitter. He's not the most athletic guy, but I do think that he studied a lot of tape in college and showed some good quickness for the 49ers. Finally, rounding out the defensive rookies, not nearly as many on the defensive side of the ball as they picked up on offense, but Evan Anderson, he's the defensive tackle out of Florida Atlantic. He's going to be the biggest player that the 49ers have on their roster. We're talking over 320 pounds. Nose tackle type. Did the big cannonball into his pool. They're happy he didn't do a front flip into his pool. A little bit safer. Did the cannonball into his pool after the 49ers signed Evan Anderson to $280,000 fully guaranteed as an undrafted free agent coming out of Florida State. The thing about him is that he's at a position of need for the 49ers. You look at the defensive line and you see and on the A unit across the board, Bosa, Collins, Hargrave, and Floyd, with Collins and Hargrave being on the inside. The B unit has got Jordan Elliott, the free agent pickup, and Kevin Givens on the inside. And then you have Kalia Davis. He's kind of in no man's land. We have to see what exactly they have Davis, Evan Anderson, and this guy over here that I have on the depth chart. Those of you who are listening to the podcast form and don't see this, you can go ahead and check this out on the YouTube. But the depth chart has got Shaquille Brown over on the right side. Second-year defensive tackle. I think it's Brown. I think it's Evan Anderson. And I think it's Kalia Davis, all three of whom can throw their name into the mix to be the DJ Jones type of run stopper for the 49ers that this team has missed for a couple of years. That's been a big reason why they tumbled down from number 2 to number 26 in run defense EPA last season. So is Anderson going to be ready to deliver right out of the gate? I mean, maybe, probably not. I don't know if he's refined enough for that as an undrafted free agent, but they have a lot of belief in his potential, and he will be the largest 49ers player out of the gate. So keep an eye on him out of Florida Atlantic. All right, let's play a little bit more video. Why don't we move to the running back position? Why don't we watch some Frank Gore working with the 49ers running backs? Gore, I mean, working with Guerendo. There are a couple other running backs here, not on the 49ers, but Frank Gore, the legend, the 16-year legend with 16,000 rushing yards, now doing some consulting work for the 49ers front office. He's working with his son in this video, a couple NFL guys, and there's Frank. Isaac Guerendo, the 49ers running back. We can go back to the start of this video to see Isaac and the quickness that he shows. I mean, this was an elite tester at Wisconsin, or first Wisconsin and then at Louisville after he transferred. Guerendo started his career as a wide receiver, and as you can see, he's light on his feet for a 220-pounder, which I think is notable. And that's what his athleticism profile really showed us. It was actually not that different from Saquon Barkley's, which was remarkable. The thing about Guerendo is that I think that he's still evolving and still learning how to be a natural running back, considering that he did enter college as that wide receiver. The running backs working out here, by the way, Jonathan Taylor is the big name here. Melvin Gordon is also in the group, and so is Frank Gore Jr. joining Isaac Guerendo and working with Frank Gore. But for somebody like Isaac Guerendo, training camp is going to be so damn important, just because the conversion to that running back position has been relatively recent. And as you'll see here in a little bit, the 49ers will have another player competing with him, another rookie in Cody Schrader, who has a whole lot more game experience than Guerendo. Almost, you could look at Guerendo again here. He only started one game in college, despite those really, really awesome metrics. So you can look at him as somebody who the 49ers view as moldable clay, raw, untapped potential. And he's going to be competing with this. This is somebody this is Cody Schrader, somebody who has a whole lot of experience, an SEC rushing leader, but somebody who didn't test all too well coming out of college. So essentially the opposite of Guerendo in terms of profile. But you look at Schrader and you see somebody who, I mean, he looks like a tank, looks like a load. Lower body is strong. The movement ability looks good. The metrics, again, the measurables were not excellent. You could even say that they were bad. But Cody Schrader was electric in college. He's arguably the best back coming out of the SEC. And that's saying something. So Schrader, I think he might be a little bit ahead right now on the depth chart of somebody like Isaac Guerendo. Not like it matters at this point, but they're going to have a chance to, both of them are going to have a chance to prove themselves over the course of training camp. And this proving grounds is going to be fascinating at the running back position. Guerendo and Schrader show up tomorrow. That is rookie report day. And then you're going to see the veterans, led obviously by Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell, Jordan Mason, and Patrick Taylor, come the week after that. One quarterback is going to show up for the 49ers tomorrow, and that is Tanner Mordecai. Mordecai last played for Wisconsin. And you talk about speed. I know Guerendo has it. Mordecai has it too. It's a fast 49ers quarterback room. Now, we'll see how much of a gamer Mordecai is at the NFL level. Brock Purdy was thrust into a similar situation a couple seasons ago as the final pick of the draft. We all know that story. Quick player, athletic player. I don't think he's quite as fast as Mordecai, who runs about a 4.5. But still, Purdy obviously moves at an elite level, really resourceful player. He was able to show his chops. He was able to show how much of a gamer he was over the course of training camp, and that earned him a 53-man roster spot. For Mordecai, it might be even more of an uphill climb. He's got Brandon Allen and Josh Dobbs in front of him. It's going to be crucial every single rep. I mean, Brian Greasy told us that Tanner Mordecai was swimming during OTAs. He was swimming in the new knowledge. And that's totally common. That's something you would expect out of a rookie, a guy that's being introduced to the NFL level for the first time. But what has to happen for Tanner Mordecai is that he's got to pick this stuff up sooner rather than later. And if he does that, then he's going to be ready to deliver some quality reps for the 49ers over the course of training camp. And if he does that, then he's going to be available to potentially make the 53-man roster, or at the very least, the practice squad and hang around the building. Here you have the relative athletic score for the 49ers new quarterback, the rookie Tanner Mordecai, is going to report tomorrow. 9.2 overall relative athletic score is elite. The size grade is poor. He's about 6 feet, 210 pounds. He's not your 6'4", 225-pound gunslinger. But everything else is, at worst, great. The speed grade at a 4.53 40, that's what you want to see out of a QB. Look at the 10-yard split. It's not much worse than Purdy's, and Purdy's is elite at 1.63. Look at the agility, 4.2 shuttle, not bad. 3-cone. If you could ever see a 3-cone under 7 for a QB, you love that as far as his movement ability. And Tanner Mordecai was at 7 flat at the NFL Combine. He's also explosive, 36.5-inch vertical and a broad jump of nearly 10 feet. So Tanner Mordecai, look out. 49ers have a new quarterback, rookie, who's going to be reporting to the building tomorrow. All right, how are we going to do this? We did quarterback. We did running back. Let's go on to receiver. Those of you who are listening, it's probably on Apple or on Spotify. Those of you who are watching, you could check it out on Apple or Spotify. But if you're watching, you get to see some Ricky Pearsall highlights right now. This is him moving. I know I've shown plenty of these videos over the course of this offseason. I think he's going to be the most anticipated rookie to watch over the course of 49ers training camp. The base. How is that base? How's the strength going to play against press man coverage? We didn't get to see that over the course of OTAs. We will get to see it a few practices in with this training camp. We will get to see it in the preseason. 49ers are absolutely loaded at that receiver position. They have Brandon Ayuk back. They've got Deebo Samuel back. They have Jawan Jennings back. If they re-sign somebody like Trent Taylor, it's going to be really interesting. Remember that Chris Conley is still on the football team. Ronnie Bell's still on the football team. Danny Gray's still on the team. Tay Martin, he was leading some of the drills of the rookie minicamp in his second season. But Ricky Pearsall, the first-round pick out of Florida, now enters that mix. Is it an embarrassment of riches? You can argue yes, but you also have to realize that Brock Purdy is one of the best quarterbacks in football. And if you have a great quarterback, you want to make sure that you equip him with the best weapons and see the fireworks that ensue. The NFL season is also extremely long. Guys get hurt. I don't know who was just watching the receiver series on Netflix, but it went through the fact that both Deebo Samuel and George Kittle were compromised by injuries in the Super Bowl. It went through the fact that when Deebo Samuel was missing for the 49ers in weeks 6 to 8, they lost all 3 of those games. A lot of what the offense tried to do was compromised. So the more depth you have at the position, the better insulated you are against injuries over the course of the season. Take a look at this. Say that Deebo Samuel gets hurt again and Jawan Jennings gets hurt. In a normal world of 2023, you'd likely be in huge trouble if you're the 49ers. It would hamstring the offense, as it would hamstring any offense to lose 2 key components in the receiving room. But now, if Ricky Pearsall can come along and turn into the type of weapon that the 49ers truly believe he can be with some of those elite athleticism metrics, well, then you can insulate yourself for a game or two against the loss of Deebo Samuel, much better than you could last season. It's a win now kind of move that can translate into a longer term investment for the 49ers. That's how you have to look at this Ricky Pearsall acquisition. Now, he's got a sidekick for the 49ers, and that is Jacob Cowing, who I think if you look at somebody like Jacob Cowing, this could be somebody that fundamentally adds to the threat level of this offense. Cowing is a player who is extremely, extremely fast moving off the football. And we'll take a look at a couple pieces of tape here for Jacob Cowing. This is going to start in slow motion. He's moving quick even in slow motion. But his MPH, miles per hour, over the first 5 yards, fastest of any receiver at the combine. He was able to pick up a lot of speed. And I think the 49ers think that he could refine the movement ability to be at the very least a good gadget weapon for this offense, maybe in the same mold as Ray McLeod over the past 2 seasons. Either way, we have the 49ers adding 2 weapons to the receiving room. Can move on now to the offensive. Well, maybe we go to tight end first. Or even, I know there's a lot of intrigue about Tariq Owens. And we've got video of Tariq Owens working out. You'll spot Terrell Owens, his dad. There he is in this video. Tariq, I think he was pretty far behind over the course of the offseason program, but there's so much improvement that you see from rookies, especially raw rookies like Tariq Owens, who started his college career as a basketball player. Football is relatively new to him. There's so much potential improvement to make over the several weeks between OTAs and training camp. And you could tell that he's putting in some time here. I mean, Terrell Owens put in the work over the course of his NFL career, rising from a 3rd-round pick to the 2nd greatest receiver of all time. So his son here is also putting in work, and he's putting in work next to dad. We'll see what kind of shape and what kind of ability Tariq Owens, who's obviously presents a lot of moldable clay, comes back in tomorrow when the 49ers rookies report to Santa Clara. You know, speaking of that basketball background and that rawness, but the potential that goes along with it to be a good football player, another rookie who's coming in tomorrow is Mason Pline. It's a very tall tight end, somebody who played basketball for the first couple of years of his college career, did not play football, but Pline switched over to the football side of things, put in a little bit of time, and to me looked like a natural. I don't have his tape up right now, but I've played Mason Pline tape for you before, and he was holding on to crossers even through big hits very, very soon into playing football. I met him in person, Mason Pline, at Tight End U here in Nashville just a few weeks ago. And I'll tell you what, between Pline, Logan Thomas, and Eric Saubert, 3 of the 49ers' new tight ends this year, George Kittle looks short. Not like really short, but he's shorter than those guys. And George Kittle's not a short guy at 6'4". The point is that I think the 49ers have significant size in that tight end room. They are not small in that tight end room. These guys are, I think, really looking to add a legitimate second receiver threat, but they want to make sure that they stay efficient with the blocking aspect of things at that second tight end room. And between Pline, Saubert, Braden Willis, who developed a bit as a blocker last year, and they're hoping for that from Cam Latu, obviously with George Kittle, they think that they have some flexibility and some runway to potentially even develop Logan Thomas, who was a really good receiver for Washington, into a better blocker. Tight end's going to be wide open. We don't know what it's going to be behind George Kittle. So I'm excited to see Pline with all the moldable clay that he brings to the table report to training camp tomorrow. Finally, you have all of the 49ers offensive linemen. They invested in this position over the course of the offseason. 4 new bodies are going to be coming in. Dominic Pooney, Drake Nugent, Bryson Mays, and Jared Kingston. Pooney is the most ready-made to play, and there's a reason why he was the 3rd-round draft pick, and other guys were undrafted free agents. But Pooney probably is going to compete at guard to begin, but they see 5 position versatility from him. guard is the softest position up front, or at least it projects to be for the 49ers, that right guard spot. So that might be where Pooney sees his first action. We're going to have to see how it all shakes up, though, depending on the health of Jake Brendel, the center who missed the spring program with knee tendonitis. If Brendel is back, well, John Feliciano is probably the favorite to start at right guard. If Brendel isn't, then Feliciano is the favorite to start at center. And then it's anybody's guess who starts at right guard. That might open it up for Pooney to beat out Spencer Burford. But know that Pooney did not give up a single sack at Kansas in college after he transferred from Central Missouri, which was a Division II school. So he made the graduation from Division II football to big-time FBS football really impressively. And that's definitely a feather in his cap as he tries to make a jump from the FBS to the NFL. As far as Nugent, Kingston, and Bryson Mays, and Kingston was drafted, by the way. I think I mentioned other guys were undrafted free agents, but Kingston was drafted late in the 6th round. Those 3 guys, interior players for the 49ers. Nugent and Mays, probably strictly centers. And you could tell that they're really focused on trying to get that center position locked down into the future, because I don't know what the hope is for Jake Brendel. He's under contract beyond this season, but center has always been a premium position for Kyle Shanahan and his offense. And you could tell they're trying to make some long-term investments there. Nugent was an all Big Ten first-team center for Michigan on their 15-0 national championship team. He's got a great short shuttle. He moves quickly, laterally. That's important to the 49ers. Pooney's got a great short shuttle. Bryson Mays out of Southern Mississippi, another center prospect, has a really good short shuttle. So does Kingston. So there's a lot of good athleticism coming in for the 49ers along this offensive line. They will report tomorrow. We'll see how these guys slot in, but it is a really, really interesting rookie class for the 49ers. All right, there's your quick rundown through that rookie class. Tomorrow, we're going to get back to some of the video product. We're going to have a Brock Purdy film breakdown. We're going to go through all of his playoff games. It's going to be fun stuff. But anyway, just to bring this to your attention, the Lombardi Lounge podcast is now available on Apple and Spotify. We'll talk to everybody very soon.